I have found that these 5 key features I'm about to show you today are what separates efficient law firms from the ones that typically feel stuck and frustrated with manual and repetitive tasks. A lot of law firm owners invest in Clio, but barely scratch the surface of what it can do, because most don't realize the full automation capabilities and features that it provides. But I'm here today to show you how you can fully utilize your Clio Manage and get the most out of what you're already paying for before adding extra tools. We'll walk through features such as meta templates, task lists, document templates, automated workflows, and automated email login and time tracking. For each one of them, I'll show you a demo of how it works and show you how you can set it up for your law firm today. Let's get going. We'll kick things off with meta templates. What this will allow us to do is to predefine folder structures, custom fields, billing preferences, and team assignments so that we can very quickly open up new matters and assign them to the correct team members. Let me show you how this works in practice. When you open up a new matter, you'll be able to select a template. You can also, by the way, select one that will be applied to all of the new matters that you're opening. Once the template is selected, it will be able to fill out things such as matter description, the responsible and originating attorney, the practice area, who has access to the matter, any custom fields, be that individual custom fields or actually custom field sets. For example, in this case, it's a personal injury MVA matter, right? So we have accident details, insurance information, and lost wages. Set billing preferences. So in this case, for example, it's contingency fee. Assign task lists automatically upon opening, and set up the document folder structure. Once we have filled out any of the missing details, such as the client contact and the responsible staff member, we can save the matter, and from the get-go, again, we have all of our custom fields set up. We have our folder structure standardized and automated inside of our documents, and we can hit the ground running much more quickly. Let's actually see how we set up these matter templates. If we go to matters, in here, we'll have a button called matter templates, and we'll be able to create a new matter template. For this purpose, I will be using this MVA one that I already have. As I mentioned previously, you can define it as a matter default template, meaning any new cases opened in your account will always, by default, be applied to this specific template. And we can modify all of the things that I've just talked about, right? Such as attorney, location, the practice area, any custom field sets that we want to add in here. We can also easily remove them. The billing preferences, the document folders, and any task list. We can actually define a few of them from the get-go. And another great thing about meta templates that not a lot of people know about is that even if you forgot to apply a meta template upon matter creation, you can easily apply it to an existing matter. Just go to it, click Edit Matter, and select the template. It will then fill out any missing custom fields, document folders, and task lists. Talking about task lists, let's talk about our second feature, task lists. With this, you'll be able to create a simple checklist for your team to follow. And what we usually recommend is to create a task list for each one of the major stages that a matter would go through. Inside of the task list, each task can have its own essentially dependencies, be dependent on the completion of previous tasks. So that, for example, if one of the tasks in the sequence gets delayed, it moves automatically the due dates of the tasks that are dependent upon it. Within the task list, we can also specify who is going to get assigned to them, either specific person in the firm, or, for example, an assigned staff member, such as the responsible staff or responsible attorney on the matter. With these, we'll get a clear and repeatable workflow and a standardization of process to make sure that nothing falls through the cracks. Let's see how it looks like in practice. We'll go back to our Garcia matter over here, navigate to the Task tab, and click here Assign Task List. We'll select one of the task lists that I've already created, Medical Records Collection. Here we'll be able to select the assignee. So let's say Laura Martinez, who is a paralegal assigned to this matter. And in here, we can also specify the trigger date. Usually it will be today's date, but on more complex scenarios, you can potentially set it in the future or in the past to adjust the due dates of your tasks. Let's click Assign Task List. And just like these, all of these tasks are automatically created. As you can see, some of them have been assigned to the paralegal, and some of them, because I have hard-coded it essentially, have been assigned to myself. Let's now look at how you can set it up for your firm. What you'll need to do is navigate to the tasks menu in here, then task lists, and in here you'll be able to create a new task list. I'll already look at the one that I have defined. In here we'll be able to add a new task template. We'll be able to enter its name, its priority, its description, which you can also use, for example, to lay out kind of the small intermediary steps that are involved in the completion of the task. A great thing that Clio has enabled now is formatting. So you can bold stuff, you can make lists. You can also actually insert a link, which will, for example, bring the staff member to your SOP that you have uploaded to your Google Drive account or specialized SOP management software. We can also define the task type if you are using that feature, the time estimate, and in here in the assignee section, we'll be able to either assign this task to the list assignee, right? Which, as you have seen, we have selected when we are actually assigning this task list on a matter, or by default assign it to a specific person, right? So these are, for example, great for reviews. If you have one person approving, for example, the certain actions, right? Major actions, this would be very useful. And then for the due date, we can either use the trigger date, or we can have a relative due date, right? Which will be, for example, 1 business day after the completion of the previous task. In here, we can assign it either after or before, and we can also have multiple units: days, business days, weeks, months, and years. In addition, we can also add a reminder, either an email or a pop-up, a few minutes, hours, days, or weeks before the due date to the assigned staff member that this task will go to. Now, to actually look at a practical example, we have this medical records collection task list over here, which, as you can see, most of the tasks are actually linked to the due dates of the previous ones, right? So if one of them gets delayed, let's say this one gets delayed, then the due date of this one will get pushed into the future. Let's actually see how that looks like in practice, right? So for example, we have this identify all medical providers, which is 1 business day after received signed HIPAA auth from the client. Right, at this point in time, it is the 6th of May, which is the due date, right? 1 business day after the 5th of May, which is the previous task. So let's update this first task and see how that affects the due date of the other one. Imagine that it gets delayed by a week. And just like that, automatically, identify all medical providers has been moved as well a week into the future without any manual reordering needed from the staff. Now, a good thing that you can do is if you need to track certain deadlines, right? Or for example, you have defined in your firm that after the client finishes treatment, your objective is to, within 75 calendar days, collect all of the medical records. What you can do then is to have one of these tasks, which would be the deadline, be linked to the trigger date instead of one of the previous tasks. What does this mean, right? That means even if one of these gets delayed, this task will not get moved, right? And you'll be able to easily track whether you actually hit right, your deadline, or you have some issues on that case. All in all, a very useful feature. And we'll actually see how you can automate the assignment of the task list themselves in just a few minutes. Let's now move to the third feature, which is document templates. With these, you'll be able to define the documents that you are often drafting in Word, Excel, or actually PowerPoint, and automatically create them and fill them in with information that you have on your client and on the matter. What this does is it standardizes the document creation process. A lot of times we see firms, reusing old documents, different attorneys having their own templates, which then potentially leads to issues, right, that can creep up on these matters. If, for example, certain clause is updated in one template, but then not updated in another template that another person is using. What this helps to do is for you to standardize all of these drafting. What a lot of people also don't know is that you can actually define quite advanced custom logic, conditional logic inside of these documents without using any external software. Let's jump into it and see how it actually works in practice. The first thing that you'll need to do in order to set up one of these templates would be to navigate to your settings, and then in here, documents. What this will then display is all the merge fields, right, or essentially placeholders that you can add to your documents in order to fill them once the document is generated. As well, in here, you can easily select the matter that you're working with just to see actual sample values for that matter in here for each one of these values. In here, you can use both default values in Clio, such as, for example, the matter number, originator attorney, responsible attorney, etc. And then also any of the custom fields that you've defined and added to your matters. Let's now look at an example of each one of these essentially document formats, Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, and see how they work. So for the Word documents, we'll be generating a template request for medical records, right? Obviously quite useful in PI. As you can see, we can define, the documents as usual, have our headers, whatever is needed. And in here, we are adding then these placeholders or merge fields, right? So for example, in this case, we're adding the verbose format of the date. We're then adding all the basic information in terms of the client name, date of birth, the accident date, the matter number, etc. And in here, as you can see, we have some conditional logic, right? So this can be useful for things such as pronouns, right? So our law firm represents our client name in connection with injuries. And then if the custom field that we have on the client contact for gender is male, it will be he, otherwise it will be a she. Sustained in an accident that occurred on or about custom field accident date. Same here, itemized bill and statement pertaining to the treatment he or she received at your facility relating to this accident. Once we actually generate the documents, you'll see how it looks like in practice. And finally, as well, obviously signature, for example, put in the responsible stuff in here. Once we have defined our template, what we'll need to do is navigate to our documents section over here in Clio. Click categories and templates. And in here in templates, we'll be able to define a new template. The only thing you'll need to do is to select your document and potentially, if you want, add it to one of the document categories that you have defined in your Clio Manage account. Just click upload one item and it will add it to the list of document templates. Once we have done so, we'll be able to navigate to one of our matters, go to our document section, and then in here, click new, create document from templates, find the template that we are working with, right? So let's select our docx in here. We can change its file name if we want. And obviously, can add it into one of the folders. And we can either generate the Word version or the PDF version, or both. And in this case, let's actually generate both. It will then just take a few seconds to generate it, and we'll upload those files into our documents list. There we go. These two documents have been created. Let's actually download them and check out how they look like. So let's first check out the PDF version. And as you can see, the current date has been filled. All the matter details have been filled correctly. And in here, in our conditional logic, right, because on our contact, right, Alex Garcia, it's a male, custom fields gender male. The value that has been populated is, in this case, he, right? Same down below, he received at your facility. And then we have our paralegal defined over here. Fantastic. Let's actually now look then at the Word version. And in the Word version, all of the basic fields will be automatically filled out. In the case of any those custom fields that you have, like the conditional logic, that you have defined, you'll actually need to properly see it is select all text. You can do it by clicking Control A or Command A if you're on Mac. Right click and then click Update Field. And we'll just make sure that, for example, right, both of these conditional fields have actually been populated with their respective values. And just like that, we can then make obviously any edits and use it in our workflow. If you'd want a more deeper dive into how to set up these Word documents and conditional logic, please let me know in the comments down below. Let's now look at our Excel. In here, the process will be somewhat different. Instead of defining those fields with those brackets as you have seen in the Word document, will actually be just using the actual name of the custom field and naming the cell in Excel that we want to fill out, right? So for example, in this case, we have this lost wages calculator, which takes the matter number, and then 3 custom fields that we have defined: pre-accident hourly pay rate, pre-accident hours per day, number of days missed from work, right, as you can see over here, And then total wages lost is actually a calculation of all those three fields. Let's see how it works in practice. And here on our matter, right, we have defined those custom fields related to this. So 150 hourly rate, 8 hours per day, 35 days missed from work. Let's head over to the document section. Click New, create document from template, select our Excel template. Again, PDF document or Excel, and click Create. And let's wait for it to generate. The document has now been created. Let's actually have a look at it. And just like that, as you can see, the matter number has been filled out. All these values have been filled out, and the calculation has been automatically done. So obviously, you can see how this can be quite useful to make any calculations just like this in your practice and get going with an Excel file. And finally, let's look at PowerPoint. It's ultimately very similar to Word, right? So you use the same kind of format with the brackets, right, on each side of the custom field. And if we generate one of those documents, you'll see that it works exactly the same way as a Word document would. There we go. We have our test presentation. Let's have a look at it. And there we go. As you can see, those values have been filled out with our meta details. Now, it is true that with the Word documents and potentially more complicated conditional logic, these fields, right, that we are defining here, toggle field codes, right, so we can see the full formula. These fields can get quite complicated, and that's why if you're doing very complex document generation, there is additional software that you could add to the mix, such as, for example, Clio Draft, developed by Clio, or Gavel as a third-party provider. Gavel is a product I really like. Have created a few videos about it on the channel, so can definitely recommend it in your use if, again, you need some that more advanced use cases. Let's now look at the fourth feature, automated workflows, that has been quite recently released by Clio. And with it, at this point in time, we can do three things. First of all, when a matter changes from one stage to another in the stages feature, in the pipeline, we can automatically assign a task list to one of the people added to the matter, be that originator or responsible attorney or the assigned staff member. And then we can also automatically generate a document based on a template that we have defined. In addition to that, if you are using Clio Grow as the CRM product, you can also automatically apply a matter template whenever a specific a matter is converted from Clio Grow to Clio Manage in a specific practice area. Let's see how you can define these. For that, you'll need to navigate to your Clio Manage account, and at this point in time, you probably would have a button or pop-up just like this in your account. If not, just navigate to Settings, and then here, Automated Workflows. It will open up a new page where you'll be able to define one of these automations. Whenever you're defining one of these automations, let's say, for example, this medical records collection task list, you'll be able to define the practice area that is linked to, the matter stage which will actually activate this automation. In case that you want to only activate this automation when it goes from one stage to another, right, from stage A to stage B, then you can also define a from matter stage here. Otherwise, it will trigger always, let's say, on stage B, irrespective of what stage it comes from. And then the actual task list and who it will be assigned to. Again, that can be the responsible attorney, originator attorney, or the responsible staff on the case, right? And so, for example, in this case, for the PI, right, whenever it gets into record collection, it assigns this medical records collection task list. And very similar in document generation, right? We are automatically creating document based on a template and assigning it a specific file name. So let's see how this looks like in practice. Let's look at another matter, Ryan, in here. We can see that in terms of documents, as you can see, no documents in here, and also no outstanding tasks on the matter. So let's actually move it into this record collection stage and see how that activates the automations. Right? As you can see, there we go, document being generated and a successfully assigned task list for Ryan. These two actions have been automatically triggered. If we now go to the matter, we go to the tasks, you can see that all of these have been automatically assigned to the responsible staff member And if, again, any values have been hard-coded, it will go to that specific person. And in case of documents as well, those documents for the template request for medical records have been automatically generated, all without staff having to manually trigger any of those actions, just by changing the stage of the matter. I honestly love this new feature that has been released by Clio. Or previously, to do any of these things, we would actually need to define a custom automation in Zapier or Make.com or another automation platform. And there was a few complications in terms of that. Now you can do it directly all within Clio Manage. And I'm hopeful that Clio will expand the functionality of these features, as, for example, sending automatic emails to the client whenever the matter changes stage, and other automations. And we'll be able to do more with this feature as time goes on. If you want to dive deeper into automated workflows and how to properly set up them up for a firm, check out the other video that I created about this feature recently on my YouTube channel. Let's now move to the final feature, automated email login and time tracking. If you have run your firm for any amount of time, you know that both of these can be very much a pain. Now, obviously, this will be more so applicable in terms of time tracking for practices that do hourly billing, but in terms of email login, can be applicable really to anybody. So with these, we'll be relying on third-party providers, right? The Clio Manage functionality, native functionality that it provides is obviously, being able to have a time tracker, right, in your Clio Manage account, or potentially even running multiple of them, and using either the BCC mail drop or using the extension in Gmail or Outlook. Now, both of these, again, are quite manual. So there are a few providers on the market that we have seen actually work really, really nicely with the firms that we've been working with, and that we don't hesitate to recommend. So first of all, for email login, we have Tempelo. What it will do is it will connect to your Gmail or Outlook inbox on kind of the admin backend level, and process all the emails that are coming in. And then using both some algorithm and AI, it will sync all the data that you have in Clio Manage account, and will understand, based on the content of the email and the sender, which matter should that email be logged against, right? What it will do then is automatically log that email against that matter. You're also able to kind of have oversight of that, correct any errors if there are any. And again, if you're also billing for your time, automatically creates time entries, default time entries for each one of those emails. If you want to deeper dive in that and a review of that, again, check out my YouTube channel. I've created quite recently. So that's primarily for emails and time entries related to specifically emails. Then for pure time tracking, we have two main solutions, MemTime and WiseTime. Both of them are quite good. The difference in between them is that MemTime allows you to actually also then log your time against tasks in Clio Manage, while WiseTime doesn't allow you to do that, but then has AI narratives, right? So for each time entry that it is creating for you, it is also creating an automatic kind of description, so you don't have to type it out yourself manually. What both of these softwares do is that you install them on your machine, Mac or Windows. They run in the background and essentially track all the activities that you are doing on your computer. And then at the end of the day, you can review and publish those entries that it automatically suggests for you into Clio Manage. And finally, we have Ajax, which is actually a newer kid on the block. What this software allows you to do and aims to do is to actually do both of those. So both email login and time tracking for all the activities that you're performing throughout the day, with also quite more advanced AI functionalities. That one is somewhat more premium in terms of its pricing compared to the others, but can as well be very much worth it. Again, especially if you're running hourly billing, even if it just catches one or two more hours for you, it will be worth the investment. So feel free to check these out. And to wrap things up, I often have law firm owners reach out and ask me, which case management system should I switch to? And more often than not, my honest answer is the current system that you have, like Clio Manage, is more than enough. It's not that the tool is broken, it's that it's not optimized and you're not fully utilizing it to its potential. So if you want to start building a more efficient practice, join our free legal tech community where I share this resource and any others that we publish for free for you to download by clicking the link down below. In addition to that, you'll also get a community of like-minded attorneys and law firm operators building their practices. And if you want more personalized guidance from myself and my team, then book a link down below and speak to one of our team members. I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and go and make your practice more efficient.